are now on a pathway to success. So let me talk to you about how to choose the path that will most serve you on your journey, and then how to interact with the Basecamp software to mark your progress along the way. Whether you're new to Toastmasters or you're choosing a pathway for the first time, the first step is going to be to educate yourself about the different paths. We have a board here that we're displaying at our Toastmasters meeting when you walk in the door, and it talks to you about the different paths that you can choose to take. You'll have to pick one of them, and then you'll work through the manual that's associated with one of these paths. The first one is dynamic leadership. Has anyone in here decided to be on the path of dynamic leadership? We do have one person on the path of dynamic leadership, and I think many others will follow. The next one is effective coaching. Does that apply to anybody in here so far? Innovative planning is the next one. Just go ahead and raise your hand if it applies to you when I read it off. Leadership development. We have quite a few people in leadership development here. Motivational strategies. Persuasive influence. I'm on that path too right now. Presentation mastery. Strategic relationships. Team collaboration. And visionary communication. So the very first thing that you'll do is to take the survey on the Toastmasters International website to decide which path is right for you. The survey is really short. Let me show you how to get to that survey on the website. The first thing that you'll do is you'll log into the international website, Toastmasters.org. And at Toastmasters.org, if you haven't logged in there yet, you're going to need to reset your password. So you'll go into that website, you'll type in your username, and then you'll say reset password. And it will send you an email where you can choose your password for the first time. Once you've gotten that email, what you'll do is type in your username and then your password, and you'll be able to log into the Toastmasters International website, which I have displayed right here. So once you're in the Toastmasters International website, which is red, it looks like this, you'll log in by going up here to log in and type in that sign-in information like I said. Then what you'll do is you'll come over to Pathways. Pathways is the second tab on the navigation bar. If you even just put your cursor over Pathways, it will show you all the different things you can do with Pathways, and that's going to be essential. Once you're there, you can learn more about Pathways, access My Path through Basecamp, take the assessment, go to Basecamp, choose a path, or do Pathways accessible materials. If you want to choose your path, which thing do you think that you'll have to click on? Choose your path. You're exactly right. So that is where we're going to go first to take our survey. So click on Choose a Path, the third option on the top line, and you can choose to open it in a new tab or just to open it in general. I'm going to open it in a new tab. Once you've chosen Choose Your Path, you'll be prompted to take a series of kind of yes or no types of questions or surveys on the survey. And once you've answered, I believe there are about 10 questions on the survey, it will tell you what path it thinks that you should probably take. So you can see here on the screen what will happen when you say choose a path is it will take you to a place where there are 3 boxes. Usually, you will only need to use the middle box. But the first time, if you're taking this survey, click on the box that's closest to the left. On the left-hand box, you're going to say choose your path as yourself, and then click Continue to Path Selection. This is where you'll find that survey that I was talking about. So you're going to click on Basecamp, take your assessment on the left, and then it pops up with a Pathways assessment. First, you'll choose your language. Your language, if you're listening to this speech, is probably English, maybe another language, but definitely English. So let's choose English and then click Start. Now it asks, select 3 topics you're interested in learning about from the list below. It gives things like public speaking, which I'm interested in, and maybe I'm also interested in leadership, and also interested in interpersonal communication, I'm going to choose motivating others. I'm going to click next. Then it says which of the following topics is most related to the personal and professional goals that brought you to Toastmasters? Public speaking, leadership, or motivating others, the three things that I chose. So let's say maybe public speaking is the one that brought me to Toastmasters. Learning about blank will help me significantly in my personal and or professional life. Public speaking, leadership, or motivating others. Maybe I'll pick leadership for this one. And it goes on, but there are not very many questions. Once you've chosen the answers to all of these questions, it will populate with what it thinks the top 3 paths that you should take are. So you'll answer a few questions where you'll either strongly agree, be unsure, or disagree with a variety of questions. Let me see if I can speed up the process by choosing questions at random. This way I can show you what will happen at the very end. So some of the questions and the survey are working with the team is a good opportunity for me to understand myself better. I show my understanding of others by reflecting their feelings back to them. I like to get involved in group discussions. And depending on whether you strongly agree, you're unsure, or you disagree, is what's going to help the algorithm decide which path you should probably choose. I think I should probably stop clicking on unsure because I think it's giving me more questions because I'm so unsure of myself. So I'm just going to click on agree and we'll get through this survey. It doesn't usually take very long. I seek out leadership opportunities. I agree. I'm flexible to adapt to other communication styles. I agree. And now we're done with the survey. So it's going to give me the top 3 things that it thinks that I should do. According to the survey that I just clicked at random, I should be in dynamic leadership, or then maybe innovative planning, or leadership development. I can read the blurb about each of these 3 paths and see if it sounds right for me. For instance, dynamic leadership, this path helps you build your skills as a strategic leader and negotiator. Well, if that sounds like me, I might read the rest of the blurb and choose that path. If you want to choose one of these 3 paths, all you have to do is click on choose this path down at the bottom, and you're done. But if you read all 3 of these and you say to yourself, none of these sound like me, don't worry, there are other paths that you can choose, and all you have to do is scroll down to where it says additional paths. When you click on additional paths, it will give you all the other paths, and you can read through those other paths to decide which one you want. Okay, so now you've gone through the process of which path do I choose? All you have to do in order to choose a path is click on choose this path and say, yes, I'm sure that I want to select this path. When you choose to select the path, it will take you to another page where it will say, thank you for enrolling in Toastmasters Pathways, and it will take you to a few other options. It will automatically give you access online to the pathways that you chose. So this is how to choose your path. If you've already chosen a path, like the majority of the people in this audience, then you have already completed this step. Now I'm going to go into what's really important for the majority of the meetings, which is how do I see how far I am on this path, and what do I need to do next on the path? Do I need to give a speech? Do I need to go out into the world and make connections at a networking meeting? Do I need to start a podcast? There are all sorts of different options on this path. So how do you know where to go on the path? We're going to go to a program called Basecamp. So I'm going to go to the top of this page once more, and I'm going to go over 2 tabs to our old friend, Pathways. So exactly like we did before, go ahead and put your cursor on Pathways, and then this is where you can find all the Pathways stuff. Again, if there's nothing else you get from this presentation, make sure that when you go to Toastmasters International website, you just go to the top and click on Pathways. You'll probably be able to find what you're looking for. So we're going to go and click on Go to Basecamp. Basecamp is the learning software we're going to use for the rest of our time here. So click on Go to Basecamp, and it will take you to something that we've already seen, these 3 boxes. Do you remember which box I said you'll probably use the most often?
Middle one.
You're going to use this middle one, and it says access my path through Basecamp. So I'm going to click that box in order to get into that section. Okay, this is where you're going to really want to pay attention because this is what you're going to use all the time in this new system. Once you're here, you can scroll down, and I'm going to give you an overview of what's here. The first thing is navigating Basecamp. This box is what you'll use when you say, well, Rebecca taught me how to get here, but I don't remember anything else she said. This navigating Basecamp is really useful because it provides tutorials for Basecamp, which are often in written or video form. They make it very easy for you to learn about Basecamp if you know where to go. So click on that box, and then you can click on any of these things to help you understand where to go in Basecamp. We have the options explore my profile, work in my projects, complete my assignments, feedback and recognition, complete a level, the Pathways Mentor Program, and then below there are some frequently asked questions. So the things that people have had the most trouble with, you can find in those FAQs below. I'm going to click back in order to get back into the main page of Basecamp. So we're at the main page of Basecamp. Navigating Basecamp is what we just looked at. That's where you can find what? FAQs and tutorials. My education transcript is where you will probably be most when you do this Pathways journey. You can go to my education transcript in 2 different locations. There's one here, my education transcript, but the one I would suggest that you use all the time is this box right here at the bottom. It says my education transcript, and basically it just shows where you've been recently or where you've been the most. So your pathway will always show up here on my education transcript. So I chose dynamic leadership. You can open the curriculum right from here from the bottom. So if you go to Toastmasters.org and sign in, then go to the top with Pathways. Click on Go to Basecamp, and then click on the middle thing. But then you can go to My Education Transcript. It will be right at the bottom. Once you've gotten to Basecamp, where you want to go will be right at the bottom. So I'm going to choose Open Curriculum here for my dynamic leadership path. When I click on Open Curriculum, it will be as if I'm opening the manual, the written manual of all the different speeches that I need to do. In Pathways, not only do you need to make speeches, but you also have to do projects out in the real world. Say you want to be a CEO. Well, you better start doing some things out in the real world to become a better CEO. Dynamic leadership is what that's all about. So when I open my dynamic leadership curriculum, it's as if I'm opening the manual. So you'll see several levels. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can't access a higher level until you've completed the first one. So we're going to start with level 1. On level 1, right over here, there's a button that says View Details. I'm going to click on View Details. And here, I'm going to access level 1. The first speech I need to make is an icebreaker. And so I'm going to click on Activate. Okay, here's something that's really important and is also an FAQ. When you click this, you've done everything right. You go to open up your path. You click it, and it looks like nothing happens. What I would suggest you do is minimize your browser because maybe it opened up in a new page, and you can't see it because that new page is behind the page that you're currently looking at. So if you click this button, Launch, and you see nothing, click Minimize and see if what you're looking for is right behind that page. So we're going to click on Launch, and you'll see for the icebreaker speech, the very first speech on every program, you're going to have to do an icebreaker. This is very detailed as far as what it expects of you. It expects you to make a speech about yourself as it relates to your path, and you'll see that it has a lot of different tips and tricks about making that speech. Once you've done that speech, you're going to log in again to put your evaluation of that speech into Pathways. The evaluation of that speech is right here in this next section where you got your original speech in order to enter in your evaluation. I realize that this is going to be a change when it's the first time that you've done this program. So something that you could do is just save up your paper evaluations and then enter them in all at once. We in this club are not really going to be checking in on you to make sure that you immediately upload your evaluations. So if you wanted to upload your evaluations 5 at a time or something like that, that could be an option for you. Or if you're one of those people that is right on the ball, you can log them in every time. The only thing I would caution you is that you have to do the first step on the path in order to do the next step on the path. You have to do the second step in order to do the third step. You have to do the third step in order to do the fourth step. So you do have to go back to Basecamp all the time. There's a lot of information about Basecamp. I am your Vice President of Education, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have, but you know that you can click on those tutorials, and those tutorials in Basecamp will help you out a lot. This is probably a lot of information to digest, but please feel free to talk to me or any of your officers for more information about Basecamp and the Pathways program. And thank you very much.